Reflections of Father on Father's Day. This is going to sound a little different because it's not supposed to be the same. There is one event that can completely change a man. He can go from being something he was into becoming something that he is. You see, it's the birth of a child that turns a son into a father, a husband into a parent, and in theory, a boy into a man. Now, we may not recall our own births, but we as fathers know the details about the births of each of our own children. Watching them come into this world, fighting for every breath, has given meaning to the word father in which ways that Merriam-Webster, with all of his eloquence and intellect, failed to be able to define in his dictionary. Like the other day, I sat in silence, searching for advice from my earthly father, going deep into the recesses of my mind, traveling back through space and time, only to find a void. It's not that fathers don't give advice to their offspring, it's just that we become selective in that which we hear, apply, and remember. Like good children playing with toys, we replace truth and reality with imagination and fiction, creating a version of our earthly father that is a cross between God and Denzel Washington. You know, Denzel in that one movie where he was willing to both give and take life in order to save the life of his son. Yes, that one. I believe it was John Q. Q as in questioning the universe, searching for advice on what it means to be a good father. Because if you can't be good, why bother? So I fill my head with good thoughts from a good man who became a good father, did his best to raise good children who in turn will become good mothers and fathers, and like the circle of life from the Lion King, repeat the cycle all over again. His wisdom simplified into 3 golden rules. No, not golden as that one which commands you to do unto others as you would have them do unto you, but 3 golden rules. 3 golden rules of life that are bound to see you through. Number 1, put God first in everything that you do. Let his book, his words, and his prayer guide, protect, and keep you. Something very practical is placed in rule number 2. It sounds more like a warning, but it's still a jewel. Walk softly through life, however, carry a big stick. But if you're going to carry one, you best be prepared to use it. Now, rule number 3 was designed to maintain your wit. It was the last he stated, but it was definitely not the least. Change and conflict are both constant and bring opportunities. The best answers to both you will find on your knees. Not in a bottle, not in a drug, nor under a rug. Not in a house, nor with a mouse. Not on a plane or on a train. Not in a box, nor with a fox. Not with a goat or on a boat. But I digress as I try and dissect, reconnect, inspect, reflect, while simultaneously trying hard to forget, recollect, and protect the memory of my father on Father's Day. Now, the story you just heard for many in this room rang true, but it's called a parable, and its true meaning may have eluded some of you. Now comes the breakdown, and it's plain and simple. The lessons I presented by pointing my finger at my temple. Putting pen to paper and finger to keys, you best believe this story began with me on my knees. The story as told began with God, the Father, who went from creator to parent with the birth of his son, Jesus, who never has listed any words to describe his own birth, but each of you, his children, he was there at yours, and best believe he knows your worth. The advice that was given carried a lot of weight. When you heard it was from my earthly father, you thought it was great. But just as the children in my story told, when it comes to listening to God, the Father's advice, some of you turn ice cold. Those 3 rules which you found to be good and wise came from the Father, Yahweh Nesai. It wasn't Denzel who was prepared to give and take a life. It was God the Father who gave us Jesus and made the ultimate parental sacrifice. So when he says put God first in all that you do, it's not just a rule, it's a commandment to each of you. Walk softly, he says. It shows that God is in whom you put your trust. My rod and staff, they comfort you. Use them if you must. Change and conflict are brought purposefully into your life. Without those 2 tests, you might not ever let my spirit shine bright. You see, without some tests, there can be no testimony. And without Father's Day, some of you may think, I am a phony. So on this Father's Day, as you sit and reflect, celebrate and even neglect your father, know that every day is Father's Day, to and for the Father.